Hi, and thank you for tuning in to the Daily Dose for Spiritual Growth. Today we're going to be reading Psalm 127. Now, this psalm was actually written by King Solomon. And if you have read any of his other writings, Ecclesiastes in particular, I laugh because if you read it, you know what I'm about to say. He can be a downer. He talks a lot in that book about how everything is meaningless, nothing has point, it's just futile. And he can be perceived as just a negative person. However, King Solomon had grasped a deep spiritual truth that all of us should really take to heart. And I think we see that heart of him come out more in this psalm than sometimes we see in Ecclesiastes. But let's read it together. It is Psalms 127. It says, "Unless the Lord builds a house, the work of the builders is wasted. Unless the Lord protects the city, guarding it with sentries will do no good. It is useless for you to work so hard from early morning until late at night, anxiously working for food to eat, for God gives rest to his loved ones. Children are a gift from the Lord. They are a reward from him. Children born to a young man are like arrows in a warrior's hands. How joyful is the man whose quiver is full of them. He will not be put to shame when he confronts his accusers at the city gates." You see, what Solomon is challenging us with is that if we try to build our lives on our own, it really is meaningless. If we just throw ourselves into building the home that we want and going to work and working long hours and growing our bank account and making sure that we have the things we need, the food on the table, the car in the driveway, if we work on building our family and getting the kids and checking the boxes, that is really the American dream, but it's not God's dream. You see, we can get so focused on doing things that can be good. I'm not saying any of those things are wrong or bad, but when God is outside of them, when God is separate of them, they're meaningless. There's really no point to this life outside of God. Sure, we can busy ourselves. We can get involved in things. We can try to accomplish things, but outside of God, go back to that first verse. It says, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the work of the builders is wasted. Unless the Lord protects the city, guarding it, it's going to do no good." And really what this psalm challenges us with is God the center of your life? Is God the center of your home? Are you trying hard to create a great home life and God's not a part of it? You've actually excluded him from it? Or is he the center? Because when God is the center of our lives, he builds our lives into something beautiful. He brings in his love and his peace and his joy and his kindness and his goodness and his faithfulness. I love how it talks about children. Raising kids, as me and my husband are in the throes of that right now, we have an almost 13-year-old and a 9-year-old. We're busy. And sometimes, if we're not careful, our children can become a burden. Our children can become a distraction. Our children can become our main priority. That's a lot of different things I just said, but all of them are wrong. You see, God needs to be our priority. And when God is the center of our home, when we keep Christ the center of our individual lives, and in essence, the center of our home, we have a better home life. We have a joy in raising our children. We have an intentionality of speaking life into them. We have the priority and the responsibility of guiding them and directing them as we want them to be raised up in a home and a life that is centered around Christ. You see, when Christ is the center, it changes our perspective. Working hard is great. I happen to think I do. However, if I'm doing it just to put food on the table, I've lost the meaning of it. I work as God has given me the capability to work to honor and glorify him. One of my favorite verses is Colossians 3:23. It says, "Work as though you're working for the Lord, not for man." And so really what Solomon is teaching us here in Psalm 127, he's reminding us of what is our purpose. Is our purpose in our own goals, our own dreams, our own family, our own aspirations? Or is our purpose really to honor and glorify God? If that is your purpose, then he needs to be the center of everything you do, the motivation behind what you do, the director, the leader of everything that you do. And when you do, your efforts will not be in vain, but God will build a beautiful life for you, and He'll give you purpose as you help others discover who He is. Hey, I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you tune in tomorrow for another daily dose for spiritual growth.